In this video, we are going to go through several examples where we are going to implement the fundamental theorem of calculus, part 1. So, here we want to integrate x cubed minus 4x plus 3 from negative 2 to 3. We're integrating that with respect to x. So we will add 1 to the power, x to the fourth, divide by the new power, minus x squared, add 1 to the power, divide by the new power. So we divided that 4 there by 2 to get 2, plus 3x. And we're going to evaluate that from negative 2 to 3. And so we will have 3 to the fourth over 4 minus 2 times 3 squared plus 3 times 3 minus negative 2 to the fourth over 4 minus 2 times negative 2 squared plus 3 times negative 2. And be careful because we are subtracting all of this. So we're subtracting everything when we plug in that negative 2. Right? So not just the first term, but all of it. And when we do that and simplify, we will get 85 fourths. Excellent. Let's look at our next one. Here we are integrating the square root of x plus 1 from 0 to 4, and we're integrating that with respect to x. So before we do the integration, I'm going to rewrite the square root of x as x to the 1/2 power. So now when we integrate it, we will add 1 to the power. So that'll become a 3/2. Divide by the new power, so dividing by 3/2 is the same as multiplying by 2/3. Plus, if we integrate 1, that integrates to just x itself. And we are going to evaluate that from 0 to 4. So we have 2/3 times 4 to the 3/2 plus 4 minus 2/3 times 0 to the 3/2 plus 0 . And if we evaluate that, we end up with 28 thirds. Great. So we've gone through our first 2 examples. Let's hit our next example. Here we are integrating sine x dx. We're integrating that from 0 to pi. So what is the antiderivative? What is an antiderivative of sine? Well, sine integrates to negative cosine. We're going to evaluate that from 0 to pi. So we have the negative cosine of pi minus the negative cosine of 0. Cosine of pi is negative 1, so we have the negative of negative 1 minus negative cosine of 0 is just 1. So we're minusing a negative 1. So we have 1 plus 1, which is 2. Great. So that is the integral of sine from 0 to pi. And finally, if we are integrating x cubed plus x dx from negative 1 to 1, add 1 to the power, divide by the new power, add 1 to the power, divide by the new power. We're going to evaluate that from negative 1 to 1. So you have 1 to the fourth over 4 plus 1 squared over 2. And then from that, we are going to subtract negative 1 to the fourth over 4 plus negative 1 squared over 2. And when we do this, what are we going to get? But we end up with 0 itself. Why did we end up with 0? Well, here, this is an x cubed plus x graph. This graph is symmetric about the origin. So when we go from -1 to +1, our positive area and negative areas, they canceled out exactly, right? This area right here and this area right here were the same amount of area, but this was a negative area. That's why it was subtracted. It's down here. And so we ended up with 0. All right, let's look at one more example in our next video. Actually, maybe we'll look at more than one example, but we'll look at some more examples in our next video. We will see you there.